is done, we are ready with Baccilus cereus. Baccilus cereus, S for S, it is a natural inhabitant of the soil. And Baccilus cereus causes food poisoning. Simple way mein baat kare, to Baccilus cereus causes food poisoning. So now you will tell me food poisoning is of two types. Either you vomit it out or you poop it out. Basically, either there is vomit it out emetic type or there is a lot of diarrhea, so diarrheal type. Okay, first I'll want to know that which of them have what incubation period. So emetic, simple, you eat food from your stomach, coming out in the vomiting is going to be a shorter path, coming all the way through the intestine into your poop is going to be a longer path. So incubation period of the vomiting is going to be smaller, less than 6 hours, whereas for diarrheal type, coming out all the way in the stool is going to be problematic, so 8 to 16 hours. Okay, so less than 6 hours and 8 to 16 hours. Then we had also studied that less than 6 hours wala kaun sa wo hota hai? If you remember, Baccilus cereus, which has an incubation period of less than 6 hours, was very commonly confused with Staphylococcus aureus, if you remember, hai na? But the difference was that Baccilus cereus was because of the consumption of Chinese fried rice, and Staph aureus was that milk and poultry. Remember, milk and meat. So I hope you all remember that from your first chapter. So Baccilus cereus, which is going to result in vomiting, is going to be Chinese fried rice, whereas diarrheal type, which is taking too much of time, 8 to 16 hours, is going to be by milk and meat. Next, now this is Chinese fried rice. So you fried and you made Chinese food and you heated it, but still the toxin could work. This means it is heat stable. Whereas diarrheal type is going to be heat labile. Now coming to what is the mechanism. One of them increases cyclic GMP, one of them increases cyclic AMP. How did I learn it was, see, emissive, vomiting. Vomiting kahan se hota hai? Gale se hota hai. Vomiting is going to happen from the gala, whereas diarrhea is going to happen from the anal canal. So diarrhea is through anal canal, therefore cyclic AMP. And vomiting is through gala, so that is going to be cyclic GMP. That is just a way of learning it, okay? So emetic type is through the gala, cyclic GMP. Diarrheal type is through the anal canal, so cyclic AMP. But what toxins am I talking about? Please remember the diarrheal type is going to be the NHE toxin, which is responsible for which kind of diarrhea? It is responsible for the secretory diarrhea. Whereas when I'm talking about the emetic type, we are talking about a product called cerulide. We are talking about cerulide, and you know what cerulide has? It has a vagomimetic action. Ma'am, ye wala word I have read somewhere else also. Earlier when we were doing Staphylococcus aureus, that was also having a vagomimetic action. Now I can analyze. Staph aureus also stimulates the vagus and results in vomiting. Baccilus cereus also results in vagomimetic action and results in vomiting. And that is why in dono ka incubation period is less than 6 hours. Dono mein, whether it is Staph aureus or it is Baccilus cereus, it's the vagus that is stimulated and the incubation period is less than 6 hours. I hope everyone's okay with this. Let's do a very quick recap before we go on to the last slide. Look, listen. Emetic, shorter route, shorter incubation period. It is by C for C, Chinese fried rice, fried it, heated it, and still it happened. This means it is heat stable. And gale se aa raha hai, to cyclic GMP. It is because of vagomimetic action, very similar to Staph aureus. Diarrhea, more time for stool to come out. So incubation period 8 to 16 hours. It is going to be because of milk and meat. It is basically heat labile, and it is coming through anal canal, the cyclic AMP, and the name of the toxin is NH. Coming to the last part, what is the diagnosis? Now, I had already told you, every bacillus, but anthrax was the exception. Na? Every bacillus is going to break through things. It's going to roam around. It's going to be motile. It's going to break blood. So, this means it's going to be hemolytic. It is going to break the capsule. This means it is non-encapsulated. It all breaks. Everyone breaks. Anthrax doesn't break. But what is the selective media? MIPA and PEMBA are going to be the selective media. Okay, this is something which one day I was just reading through it, and because I was trying to, I was again and again saying these words in my mind, MIPA, PEMBA, because I wanted to make a mnemonic for all of you. And I said, how should I make them learn that Baccilus cereus is going to have MIPA, PEMBA in it? And suddenly I got reminded of I think 2 years ago this happened. I got reminded of a very famous clip that went viral over social media and all news channels also, when Mamta Banerjee gave a, there was a clip where there were some words which were used, that is rumba, if you remember. There was a speech of hers where she said this, and then I realized that Baccilus sounds by her name, Banerjee. So she was very serious in that speech. She was addressing a very big crowd. It was one of her hometowns, and that was a very serious speech by Mamata Banerjee ma'am, and that was Maipa Pemba. Maipa Pemba, so that what she spoke in that speech was Rumba Rumba, if you remember. So yeah, Maipa Pemba for Banerjee wala speech. For Banerjee wala serious wala speech, it is going to be Maipa Pemba. What is Maipa Pemba? That is mannitol. That is going to be mannitol, then yolk, polymyxin, agar. Mannitol, yolk, polymyxin, agar. And Pemba is again going to be something very similar. Again, it's going to be polymyxin with mannitol, bromothymol blue agar. Of course, there's another long full form to it. I don't want you to get into it. Maipa Pemba bhi yaad karo with polymyxin present in both. I think that much of it is good enough. So Maipa Pemba in that speech that you will remember, that is Baccilus cereus. I hope everyone's okay with this because we have wrapped it up. Ready for some MCQs? Let's start. Which of the following is not a virulence factor for Bacillus anthracis? Not. तो Bacillus anthracis के लिए capsule था. Capsule is written. Bacillus anthracis के लिए capsular polypeptide it is. But regarding the toxin, it was English Premier League. Edema factor, yes. Protective factor, not written. Lethal, death wala, lethal to hai. Labile is nothing. This is apna banaya hua. This is nothing. Okay, let's move on forward. All of the following are characteristics of Bacillus anthracis except, remember Bacillus anthracis was something which said that, acha, let everyone break. I am not going to break. So tell me. First tell me, does it have a poly-D glutamic acid capsule? Yes. Is it non-hemolytic? It says I will not break the blood. Yes, it is non-hemolytic. Correct. Does it have medusa head colonies? Correct. Is it motile? Does it break and run off? No, it doesn't break anything. It is non-motile, ma'am. It is non-motile. That was the rule. So which of the following is the wrong statement over here? The first one. Next, all are true about Baccilus anthracis except, is it non-motile? हाँ, ये तो ठीक है. It is not gonna run away. Is it arranged in chains? Not exactly chains, but bamboo stick and boxcar बोल सकते हो. Let's consider कि हाँ ठीक है, अभी के लिए ठीक है. Tell me, does it have a capsule? It has a very famous capsule, correct? Does it have bulging spores? Does B and B go together? No, B is not for B. This is non-bulging spores. So this is definitely the wrong statement over here. Next. Which of the following is not a cultural characteristic of Baccilus anthracis? Tell me, medusa head appearance दिखता है, string of pearls appearance, PE for pearls, PE for penicillin होता है, inverted fir tree appearance is seen on gelatin, बिल्कुल होता है. Ma'am, bamboo stick appearance is also seen in Baccilus anthracis, तो सब कुछ होता है. But they had asked you, which is not a cultural characteristic. Bamboo stick appearance is a microscopy gram stain feature. It is a feature, but it is a gram stain feature. It is not a cultural characteristic. So that becomes the answer over here. Let's pick up one last question, guys. There is a food poisoning that has occurred due to ingestion of contaminated fried rice, Chinese fried rice. And what is the organism coming to my mind? Baccilus cereus. Which kind of Baccilus cereus food poisoning will occur? It is the emetic type, and that is going to be less than 6 hours as the incubation period. I hope everyone sorted because we have wrapped up all the bacilli. This means our one set of spore forming organisms are done, and we are now going to move on to